So should you quit your 9 to 5 to become a full-time coach? This video is going to be more geared for the beginners. Some of my aspiring coaches or coaches that are still making their transition into selling a high ticket offer. Maybe you haven't had your first 10 clients yet. You still have a 9 to 5 or a gig that you're working to support yourself. And you're trying to figure out, should I get rid of this job or this time that I'm spending working for somebody else to work on my coaching business? And so this is going to be a very, very important video for the people that this is relative to. And I want to preface this with a couple of different contexts around my journey. Number one, I've been a full-time coach. I've been a full-time entrepreneur since I graduated college. However, I also want to make the context that when I transitioned to my coaching business full-time, right, from running a startup, I was like 24. I was living in Buffalo, New York when I went to college. My rent was like $325 a month and I didn't have any children, right? And so the reason why I say that is because it's so important to add context to these conversations, because I hate when people put out information that influences people to make big decisions in their life that don't have any context. And so we're going to jump really into like the facets of whether you should quit your 9 to 5 and gig that's supporting you to go all into your coaching business. And so let's talk about it. The first thing first is, I think that on one side of things, there is this point in your coaching business where you need to fully immerse yourself in your process. It's very hard to work for somebody else and give them your energy and give them your mental capacity, and then also come home and work on your coaching business with that same energy and that same mental capacity. I think that as a coach, one of the biggest things that you need to spend time on is your mindset and your beliefs, as well as getting the acquired skills to become a better coach and CEO for your business. And so those things take time, and it's typically very hard to find time doing those things if you're working a 9 to 5, then including travel time, to and back from work. And then of course, if you have children, any type of responsibilities on top of that, you're really looking at a low level of time that you can put into your coaching business. And I think on one side of the equation, it can keep you very limited because you're not putting in enough work to gain the experience, to have the epiphanies, to get the clarity, and really to step into your coaching business at the level that's needed for you to actually grow it. But that's one side of the equation. Now, the other side is, well, what happens if you jump into your coaching business and you are forced to use your business to pay for your expenses? Let's just say that you have kids and children or financial constraints or rent, right? Things that as an adult, we all have these types of expenses. And what happens when you jump into a coaching business and 100% have to make money immediately to cover your lifestyle and your expenses? However, you have not potentially built the skill sets or found the right offer or done the work to get there yet. Well, then you end up sort of living in this pendulum of kind of fighting this survival mode every single day, as well as potentially not having the resources to invest in yourself, to get in a proper mastermind, to get in the proper coaching programs and develop the proper skills to actually launch and grow a coaching business. So there's kind of two sides of the equation here. And what I want to give you guys is some even-keeled perspective and things that you can consider in making this decision, because I'm a big framework guy. I'm a big believer in faith and stepping out on faith. However, I also love processes and ways of thinking to be able to assess how I make decisions. Because I would say this, in my early life, I took a lot of risk. I'm a risk taker. And what I've learned is that I've had to balance my risk taking with a little bit of risk aversion and frameworks around making decisions. So if you're thinking about, jumping into your coaching business and leaving your 9 to 5, here are a couple of different layers I would consider. Number one is, where are you in your coaching business? Are you just starting out, or do you have a couple of clients? Typically, I would say the best time to actually leave your 9 to 5 for a coaching business is, number one, when you've gotten to the point where your expenses are so minimal that you don't have to be financially stressed in learning and building your coaching business. Number two, you're just at the point where you need to make a change, like mentally and spiritually, like you don't have any capacity to stay at that potentially toxic 9 to 5 anymore. Or number three, you've got some traction with your coaching business. And this is really important, because traction is the proof that you are building some skill sets, you are building some beliefs, and you're serving the right audience with a good product that can make you money. And so consider those three things first. Now let's lean into the traction part, right? Most coaches, if you're just starting out, you've either worked in proximity to coaches. Maybe you've been in a coaching program, you've been a closer, right? Or a client success manager for a coach, in which you know how to package all this stuff together already, right? Or you're potentially still working one-on-one with clients. And if this is the case, then what I would do is I would work with a couple of one-on-one clients, and I would really take that time to over deliver, get those clients results, and learn how to package up your intellectual property not only into an offer that is going to sell, but also an offer that's going to get results, right? And so if you're still working a 9 to 5, get some traction with a couple of one-on-one clients first. Now it all depends on how much runway that you have. If you saved up a year of expenses in your 9 to 5, let's just say you worked in tech and you got paid like, 6 figures, and you saved up a year of expenses. If you've got 6 months to a year of runway saved up, coach, fuck that 9 to 5. Put all your capacity into it. However, if you don't, you might need to take a more progressive and traction-based approach. So let's just say if you don't have all that money spent up and your 9 to 5 does pay your bills, get your first, I would say 5 to 10 clients, maybe on a one-on-one basis. Really focus on, delivering them results. And I'm going to give you guys some tips to that as well. But focus on delivering them results so that way you can actually have some proof behind the intellectual property to package it up into a coaching program that people are going to purchase, right? And so inside of doing that, when you're getting those first couple of clients, you may be charging a high ticket price point, you may not be. Like typically the only reason I would tell somebody not to charge a high ticket price point is that they don't have any actual real expertise, right? So if you're a fitness trainer, you've been a trainer for 10 years and you're transitioning online, you need to start at a high ticket price point. You know how to get people in shape. However, let's just say that if this is something that's new to you and it's a new skill set that you're building, then you need to run what I call a beta, right? Where maybe you're not charging people, or you're not charging people until they get a result, or you're charging them at a very low barrier to entry. Now, a beta can work whether you have those skill sets or not. But the key here is that for those first 5 to 10 clients, you need to get them and you need to work with them on a very short duration basis, meaning that you need to work with them for about anywhere from 21 days to about 5 or 6 weeks. Don't extend that out any longer, because what you need to do is you need to test out your processes, right? And you need to get that social proof as quick as possible. So let's just say that you're a coach who helps people lose, 40 to 50 pounds. However, you're running your beta of your online coaching transformation program. You should do like a 21-day to a 4 or 5 week coaching. And even though your clients may only lose 15 to 25 pounds, what that is still going to do is speak to a result that your process can get them. So now you can take the next step of packaging an offer and getting ready to do group coaching and scale. So that's layer number 1. Layer number 2 is once you've gotten that traction, again, it really just goes back to where you're at in revenue and expenses. If you feel comfortable enough that you can fund your lifestyle and you can fund just like the basic putting food on the table for you and whoever depends on you, right? Then it may be time to now take that leap, because with that traction and that momentum, you want to start giving it more of your time, attention, and energy, right? However, if you are, let's just say that you have children, like if you have 3 kids, or if you have like a mortgage, or maybe you are, you are still financially supporting, a family member or an elderly or something like that, and you can't just really make that switch. One of the things I would do is really take a look at your bi-weekly paycheck, whatever that paycheck is. Now let's be honest, guys, we know that for most people, if you're making under 85K, that bi-weekly paycheck, depending on your state, is anywhere from 15 to 1800, and there's no shame in that. However, whatever that bi-weekly paycheck is, that net income, that net gross pay, 1,500, 1,600, 2,500, 3,100, whatever that is, you need to price your high ticket program at that bi-weekly income. Because check this out. I'm going to give you guys a simple framework. Once you can price your high ticket program at that bi-weekly income, right, or more, then here's your next milestone. How can you bring in a client either weekly or bi-weekly to match what you make from your 9 to 5? Because now that gives you a milestone to work towards while you're still putting in those after hours on your business. So let's just say that you make 80K a year and you live in Georgia. After that, I think that's like, I don't know, based on the tax rate here, you get like $1,850 a check. Let's just say that you are in the finance, you work in the finance space. However, you also happen to be starting a program helping people with maybe funding, or maybe you are a budget coach, maybe you help people get into real estate if that's something that you do on the side as well, whatever the case may be. If you get paid $1,850 bi-weekly, what I want you to do is I want you to price your program at minimum $1,850. And your first milestone is, how can I go 60 days where I know for sure that I'm bringing in a client bi-weekly at $1,850? Because now what you're doing is you're able to give yourself a timeline of 60 consistent days of having your business revenue match your bi-weekly income. So now you're getting your bi-weekly income as well as, generating that. So you just doubled your earning in 60 days. at this point you have more leverage. And that's the biggest part of this conversation, guys. It's all about leveraging, because another part about, having a 9 to 5 or something that supports your living is that it does give you the opportunity to invest in yourself. A lot of times people jump into coaching programs and they don't necessarily have, money to continually invest in themselves. And so if they don't really hit it out the mark like first try, and they don't have resources to tap into, like maybe credit or stowaway money, and maybe they need to build another skill in sales or messaging or content or Facebook ads, they don't really necessarily have the leverage to make that investment to keep growing. And that's the thing about coaching. A lot of coaches won't tell you this, coach, but I will. Becoming that 6 to 7 figure coach is going to be directly tied to the amount of money that you invest in yourself to elevate your skill sets, to elevate your belief, and to elevate your character traits. Alex Hormozi said it best, right? But you have to invest and to get in environments where you can actually upgrade those things. And so sometimes you might want to wait until your coaching program is matching your 9 to 5 income. I've seen people have their coaching program producing 10K a month and they still haven't left their 9 to 5 yet. Right? Why? Because now they can use all that money to reinvest back into themselves and the business. So it all really depends on how you want to move. So again, think about your current situation and think about leverage. That's what's most important. Now, the other side of leverage is time. Because one of the things that, when done effectively, can be leveraged way more than that money, that 1850 or that 2K or 2500 or 1300 you're getting bi-weekly from that job. One of the things that can be leveraged at a way higher rate than that is time, especially when you have the right skill sets. Because giving somebody else 40 to 60 hours a week of your time versus putting that into your coaching business, I will tell you one thing. Putting 40 to 60 hours a week into your coaching business is going to create drastic change. Here's the caveat though. When you don't have any skills, when you don't know how to message, do content, put together sales process, funnels, run ads, all these different aspects of the skills that are needed to grow a coaching business, when you don't have those skill sets, your time isn't as valuable to you. So that's where the tricky part comes in. When you build your skill set, you become more valuable. If you're a coach that knows how to sell, put out content, and make offers, the 40 hours that you're putting into your coaching business a week is going to be 10 times more valuable than if you don't have any skill sets at all. And so you have to be able to balance out, okay, well, let me leverage a 9 to 5 to potentially make the investments to build the skill sets, let the skill sets in the right vehicle of an opportunity for coaching get me some revenue and at least match my 9 to 5. And now I'm going to now leverage my time. I say that that's the most practical way to think about leaving your 9 to 5 to invest in your coaching business, especially if you're somebody who has actual financial constraints. Now, if you're a 21-year-old, 22-year-old leaving college right now and your parents gave you some money and maybe you got a scholarship and you had a refund check and you got 10K stowed away, man, that 9 to 5. That's kind of similar to what my situation looked like. I did graduate with student debt. However, I'm a hustler. I've been a hustler since I was a very young age. And you guys will learn about my past life in some more of these videos. However, when I graduated, I had leverage. When I graduated college, I told myself, listen, I don't have $90,000 in student debt like some of my counterparts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leverage that, and I'm going to leverage my time. And you know what? If I'm not making 6 figures in my entrepreneurial journey by the time I'm 30, I'll go get a 9 to 5. That was the exact sentence I told myself when I graduated college 6 years ago. However, I had the leverage to do that. But now what I want to do is I want to move past the leverage conversation and move into the faith conversation. Because there are people who may be on the more risk-averse side that maybe overthink the leverage aspect of it, right? They may be bringing in a couple of coaching clients, right? And they know that what's stopping them from growing their business is the fact that they need to stop working 40 to 60 hours for another person. However, they still refuse to do it because they're just scared. And so part of, this conversation is going to be the faith side. And you've got to decide, coach, at what point do you want to lean all the way in? Because I will tell you one thing. As a coach who has had major breakthroughs from 5 figures to 6 figures and etc., one of the biggest factors that has always came into play with my growth is my belief in myself. Because without belief in yourself, without certainty in yourself, you never really go all in. You never really give it everything you got. You never really take that leap of faith. And more importantly, you never invest in yourself. Because people who aren't certain in themselves don't invest in themselves. You know why I don't invest in stocks? Because I'm not a stocks guy. I'm not certain of my investment in stocks. That's why I don't put money there, right? And so it's the same thing with ourselves, though. Most people are more certain of the S&P 500 than the S&P 500, right? And so as we start to think about, where you're at, your financial situation, finding leverage between money and time and investing in yourself and finding the right coaching opportunity and getting your first set of clients and getting some traction going. What I also want you to understand, coach, is that one of the biggest things that's going to play a part in making this transition is the faith and belief that you have in yourself, is the faith and belief that you can make impact with your coaching business. And so a couple of things to think about here. I know, coach, I gave you a little bit of framework, right, when it comes to leverage. First, you leverage your money, you build skill sets, and then you leverage time. But then there's also the faith. If you're a coach who's thinking about leaving a 9-to-5 to start a coaching business, then you got some things to think about after watching this video. What I want you guys to do is feel free to drop a comment below. Let me know your takeaways. I hope this provided with some perspective and context for you to make the best decision for yourself. And in addition to that, make sure that you subscribe. So I appreciate you guys for tapping in. My name is Coach Tice. I'm the founder of Content to Sales, where we help high-ticket coaches drive more sales to their business by helping them with their messaging, their content, and their sales. Now, if that sounds like you, and if you feel like those are some of the skill sets that may be stopping you from leaving your 9-to-5, then definitely check the description below just to see how we can potentially help you get to the next level. I appreciate you, coach. Let's tap in.